Crowdfunding guarantees that a lot of games will get made that otherwise would never come close to beginning development, but it doesn't guarantee that they'll be any good. For every batch of bizarre ideas that somehow become reality, there's a few select gems that validate the entire enterprise of fan-supported publishing. Picking candidates was tricky because some games merely sought funding for a specific part of their game instead of the whole thing, and several eagerly awaited projects have yet to be released. These 10 games are currently available, paid for by passionate followers, and pretty amazing. Inspired by lead designer Matt Gilgenbach's own struggles with depression and OCD, Neverending Nightmare's bleak tone and art style present an abstract representation of mental illness, providing a visual connection between fear and emotional trauma. It's become important to so many, but the game almost didn't meet its crowdfunding goals. With the help of some last-minute add-on bonuses and a demo playthrough by some YouTuber named PewDiePie, Nightmares was able to earn almost half of its $99,000 goal in its last 3 days of funding. Hailing from Torn Banner Studios, Chivalry Medieval Warfare takes players through a gritty world filled with castle sieges, pillaging, and fast-paced combat. It focuses on melee brawls with swords, axes, spears, and bows, with a heavy emphasis on depth and precision. Adjusting the broad swing of an axe or landing a perfectly timed parry with your sword gives an extremely satisfying feeling of accomplishment that rewards skill. Blood, carnage, and glory await those ready to don their armor. A fantasy multiplayer FPS is a weird sell, which is why it required an army of supporters to see the light of day. But the screaming battle cry emotes are enough to justify the game's existence. Don't be fooled by the cute and cuddly visuals or colorful cast of characters, because Don't Starve is a brutally difficult survival game. Procedurally generated worlds help ensure that each game feels fresh, and the constant threat of permadeath raises the stakes to almost unbearable levels of fear and tension. The balance in knowing what to build in each situation sets it apart from other games in the genre, as well as some unexpected surprises for those brave enough to survive for months on end. Even years after its release, Don't Starve continues to get support from Clay Entertainment, with the Reign of Giants and Don't Starve Together expansions that fundamentally change the method of survival. In Wasteland 2, it feels like things could go wrong at any minute. Situations like a weapon jamming or running out of water are common. Yet the hostility is what makes this particular post-apocalyptic setting so believable. The grim and grime are supplemented by black humor that always surfaces at the right moment. Brian Fargo, the director of both Wasteland 2 and its predecessor, said numerous times that publishers have shown little interest in the deep, fulfilling kinds of games he wants to make. Thanks to Kickstarter, Fargo got the last laugh, and we're certainly happy he did. A prime example of a game that's perhaps too niche to get the attention of traditional publishers, the Banner Saga is a mix of Fire Emblem and Oregon Trail. Inspired by Viking culture, the game finds you leading a ragtag group of refugees marching to escape certain death. While managing scarce resources, you have to make key decisions on where to go and who to trust, and the characters you meet on your journey can make a huge difference in battle. With soul-capturing music, a gripping story, and challenging gameplay, the Banner Saga strikes a chord deep within us, and we look forward to the next chapter in this epic tale. Many games aspire to be cinematic. They employ flashy set pieces, cutting-edge graphics, and famous voice talent. Kentucky Route Zero takes you on a slow drive into a Lynchian pseudo-America and drops you off on the intersection of curiosity and captivation. Through convincing sound effects, beautiful art design, an expertly crafted narrative, and moody and often surprising music, the 3 acts currently available are some of the most cinematic interactive stories we've ever experienced. Divinity: Original Sin succeeds because it truly understands its genre. Few RPGs provide such freedom. Combat relies on more than just stats, composition, and positioning. Clever improvisation and smart use of the environment makes a huge difference. More importantly, the story is shaped by the player, and not just through dialogue choices. How you complete quests, your character's background, and even what you choose not to participate in all piece the journey together. We had little attachment to the Divinity name before Original Sin, and now we eagerly await a sequel. Pillars of Eternity knows exactly what's so magical about classic Infinity Engine games and builds upon their legacy. Yet what could have been just an empty nostalgia trip is instead an absorbingly complex game in its own right. The player is given an abundance of choice, and the world reacts to those decisions. It's also very well written, making characters more than just fantasy archetypes. The environments feel alive, threatening, and surprising, simultaneously familiar and alien. Pillars of Eternity proves that sometimes the best way to move forward is by learning from the past. Merging the difficulty of Mega Man with the overworld of Super Mario Bros. 3 and a narrative pull that rivals a Telltale adventure, Shovel Knight came out of nowhere with a classy charm you don't often see in a side-scrolling platformer. Lining up multiple consoles and handhelds, the heartwarming adventure is all about defying expectations and digging up hidden secrets. Taking out each trash-talking boss is a joy, and each level introduces new enemies with varied attack patterns and a simple yet stunning art style that is continually eye-catching. The quest doesn't overstay its welcome, but finishing it was one of the most rewarding accomplishments we've achieved in the past few years. Faster Than Light jumped into our lives in 2012 with a blissfully simple perspective on tactics that blurs the line between strategy and roguelike. The entire game encompasses repetition around one suicidal mission. A desperate empire is on the brink of collapse, and you have critical information that can be used to save them. The gameplay style is suitable to both quick rounds and long-term marathons, all the while constantly adapting to your methods in a way that forces you to master your skills in the captain's chair, Kirk style, bestowing orders to divert power to the shields or weapons at critical moments throughout the arduous journey. Faster Than Light started as a 2-man project, but after surviving this mission, it's no wonder the Kickstarter campaign ended up raising 20 times its original goal. Check out the latest episode of Let's All Go to the Trailers to hear our less than favorable review of the latest live-action Halo 5 trailers. And visit our second channel, GT Reviews, for our opinions of the Rainbow Six Siege Closed Alpha on a new episode of Just Played. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and don't miss another episode of the GT Countdown next Friday.